welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. So today has been a day. Today has generally been a day because I had so many ideas I wanted to do today and none of them were working out and everything was just going so wrong. Okay, it wasn't going wrong. I was being very impatient. I had this feeling, this urge, this itch to do a massive build, but I didn't have the patience to actually decorate such a massive build, even in terms of, okay, maybe it's going to be a build that takes me maybe a few days. So maybe I'll do an hour today, do an hour tomorrow. No, it's like it's either gets done today or I'm not touching it again. Like it was that kind of mood today because I do that with some builds. I always do that with my high school builds. Like that one high school build I said before I was building, that is still on the backlog and it probably won't be completed anytime soon. Every single time I even get the slightest feeling like, okay, today's the day that I finish the high school build, I then end up thinking how much I actually have to do. And then I think it's one of my worst qualities of just procrastinating and the thought of, oh, okay, so this is how much I actually have to do for it. So then I end up thinking, okay, never mind. I'm going to find a time where I truly feel 100% I want to do this build. Like, for example, the high school build, again, I have to really, really be in the mood to build a high school or that energy is not going to be there and I'm not going to want to do it. Which sucks because I honestly think it's such a pretty build and I'm so excited to have that out, but it's gonna be a second. I'm so sorry, but it's gonna take a second for me to find the edge to finish that. You're probably gonna get many more builds. You are 100% gonna get many more builds before that ever comes out. But it's the same with the palace build. The palace build is done. Palace? Why do I keep calling it a palace? It's a castle. The same thing with the castle build. The castle build is done. But you know how I like to do my cinematic tours at the end of the videos? Just the thought of having to do a cinematic tour for that build is just making me want to go to bed because it's such a big build with so much winding, turning errors. I feel like when it actually comes to the day I do it, look, why did I procrastinate this? This was okay, but that day is not today. And another thing with it is that I made it in the mindset before I knew that, okay, I'm gonna need to use a certain amount of CC packs. So I think you started to notice there's a lot more non-CC builds within my videos because it's just I love using CC, but I want to make my builds accessible. But to know exactly what CC I use is really difficult at times because I can skim through the entire build and I can try and note down as every single CC thing I use, but even still at that point I would just end up missing something, and sometimes it's something huge, like with the chateau that I made the other day that I kept calling it chateau. Like I don't know why I did that. It's chateau. Like everyone in Britain calls it chateau. I don't know why I called it that, but even with that build I borderline forgot that I used boho living CC pack in that, and that would have been really detrimental when it came to whoever decided to download that build because it's like that's a major thing that was missing. So I try, unless I feel like there's nothing within the game that can truly fit it, I try my best to try and do non-CC. So this build is non-CC. Potentially the build that's going to come out tomorrow is non-CC because yesterday I did a build. Yesterday I went onto Pinterest and I couldn't find exteriors. So I decided to look at the interiors and then I mashed 2 interior pictures and then created the exterior from how I would perceive the exterior to look like. I really love that build, and do you know why I love that build so much? Because I'm not using a specific reference for the exterior, but I'm using a reference for the interior, and it made me so happy because I think you guys have started to notice I'm not the biggest fan of doing interior lab. I love the thought of it and I love it once it's done because I do focus more on the inside of my builds and it really does make the build come to life. I really love the output of it interiors, but I hate doing them, because I started realizing that I hated doing interiors when I realized every single build I have in my backlog that I haven't finished is fully done on the exterior parts. So all the architecture, all the landscaping, every single thing you can think for that build is done on the exterior, but the interior is just empty. Yeah, so like I was saying, normally what ends up happening is that the exterior is done, but the interior is just empty. Like the high school build, the interior is empty. Um, and then let me not get started on the journey, the process of what happened today when it came to builds. I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I just love doing the exteriors. It adds into what I said in my previous video about me constantly doing apartment. It's just because I love doing these grand exteriors, and I love it so much when my exteriors work. Yeah, I just love doing exterior. Sorry, it's just my mic keeps going off today, so I don't have like that much great control when it comes to it. But before I go into the journey of what happened today, let me just talk a little bit about this build. So what inspired this build was generally what I saw on YouTube. So I saw that there was like a lot of townhouses being built, and I was like, oh, I don't build townhouses that often. I build apartments. That's what I do. But I don't really build townhouses that often. I do have a terraced house. So a British terraced house that should be coming out quite soon. It's done. Actually, the interior is done as well, and I do have Sims who have moved in. I just need to take the cinematic intros and do the house tour, which honestly, I don't know why I've been procrastinating on that, just because it's really not that much effort compared to the, cause I won't even say it's effort. It's because if it was the lack of effort, then today I wouldn't have built this literal mini neighborhood slash village, like slash this area. I wouldn't have done all of this if it was the lack of effort. The effort's there. It's just the feeling of it's like almost like I have put so much onto this that now when it comes out, it kind of feels like it's taking something away from me. Like it's not the terrace house. It took me 3 times, I think, to do it until I finally found out what was going to work to actually do it. So then when I actually finished it, I was so proud of it. And when I moved the Sims in and I looked at it and I changed the lighting so we could have that 2005 nostalgic light, and I was like, this looks so much like a terrace house in the UK. But there was a part of me that was like, I really love this so much. I'm borderline keeping it because it's like, I don't want to see my baby being teared to pieces, which, you know what, tear it to pieces. I really don't mind. Even if you tear my builders to pieces, I normally 9 times out of 10 be thinking the same thing that you guys are thinking when you watch my builds. But I was like, it's just a build that it's just really close to me. So yeah, I have no idea why I'm being so slow with that one. I'm also being slow with, I made a high street. That's done as well. I don't know what it's mainly my British builds. None of them are just come out and just refusing to. I think it's because they have the most realistic element to me, like the most realistic that I've created. So I'm really like on the fence about posting them because I feel like they're really realistic. But if anyone else that's been raised in the UK looks at it and is like, well, what is this? So I don't know. I just could be overthinking it. I am an overthinker, so I generally could be overthinking it. I should just kind of like pull my boots and just post it. But then also another reason why I'm just not posting it is because I always get inspired to do another one. So like right now, I really feel like doing London townhouses. I'm on a townhouse kick at the moment, but I really feel like doing London townhouses. So it's going to end up being, I create a London townhouse and then I look back at my terraced house and my high street house, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I feel like I can do it better. And then I just end up making a new one, and then the other one just goes off into the this. What I've actually been really struggling with doing in terms of my British builds, I've been really struggling on creating a flat. So a flat is very similar. It's also interchangeable with an apartment. but it's got this different aesthetic to it compared to an apartment. I actually grew up in a flat. I've living in a flat is majority of my life. So I feel like it's also the element of I've grown up in one, so I really do want it to look as realistic as possible. Also, with a flat, it's really difficult compared to an apartment complex because our apartment complexes are quite short. They can be averaging maybe up to 10 floors. So you can replicate it in The Sims because the max amount of floors is 4 floors in The Sims. But you can replicate it to some extent just because the wall height doesn't go that high. However, with a flat, they're quite tall, the very tall, and they're very slender. Like in comparison to high, so it'll be like 20 floors, but it'll be very slender. So you need to have it look very like rectangular. And all the flats I've created look like squares or look quite wide, like wide rectangles. Which again makes sense in a complex where you have maybe like a gym downstairs, or you will have like the one I did the other day where there'll be like a bunch of shops downstairs, but that's not normally what occurs in a flat. What occurs in a flat is just different residences in this tall building. There's nothing underneath. There's normally just another set of residences on the ground floor slash first floor. And then it's just more residents going up. So then there's the issue with the flatbed I've been creating. The first attempt I had when trying to create a flat, there were, what was there? There was like 8. There wasn't even 8. Yeah, there was 8. Wait, no, actually, there were, oh, that was, why did I punish myself like that? There was 16 residences. Because the thing is, as well, with flats is that everyone has a balcony. And I'm thinking about, we might be thinking about different flats because the flats in London are quite different than the flats in the West Midlands or other places. And I think there are similar flats in London, but I think if you're thinking of the flats in London where it's like one balcony and then you walk along it to enter someone's house, those aren't the ones I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the ones where you enter the houses interior wise, like you enter the houses from the different residences from the inside, not from the outside. And with that means that everyone gets their own private balcony, and that's where you normally see the nets, or you'll see clothing lines, or you'll see all those things. And with those individual balconies, they are for those specific tenants. So then it ends up causing you to do 4 different residences on one floor. So then you do 4 times 4, that's 16. And yeah, it was a long process. I think it took me almost, how long did it take me? It took me almost like, it was more than 3 hours, 100% more than 3 hours to do. And then it was really hard to find any wallpapers that actually added to it. And the lot I put it on, I didn't like what lot I put it on in the end. Because I put it in Windenburg, but I put it in the area that's close to the swimming pool in Windenburg. So it just kind of looks like I looked too much of a, how do I describe it? A flat is quite tall. So where it was, since it was quite short in this quite busy area, it just looked like you had this random building. It didn't mesh in with the environment, and I don't think there's any environment in The Sims where the flat I made would have actually meshed. So and I completely scrapped that and start again, and I restarted it, and I did it like 4 times. And the current attempt is to try and do those blue red flats, and I'm gonna go back on it just because the blue red flats have the annoying thing at that. It's not annoying, but they have like those kind of penthouse suites at the top where it's like maybe 2 residences or 1 resident. And I've never entered one of those flats, so I don't know how that's supposed to look. So there's that issue. But I do want to create a proper flat one day. And hopefully when I do get Sims 4 rent, which I will probably get quite late, just because I've never been able to buy an expansion back upon release because it's a lot of money and I am currently unemployed. So I can't, you probably won't get a video from me for it on initial release, but I will provide you guys with a lot more townhouses and apartment complexes using what I've got, like I've been doing, so you guys can at least have the builds you need to actually do the Sims 4 rent. But I do think also, I think there might be things a little bit different with it, because I feel like how would you like differentiate which apartments for who and whatever that is. But with this build in particular, I think there's like 10 different places of residences. There's let me try. Wait, actually, let me not lie. Let me try. It's really hard. It's quite late. It's like 11 o'clock in the evening, and I've spent the entire day trying to make a build. But I think there's eight, maybe eight, 10 slash residences in the front where we are right now. There's four studios. So it's one studio at the bottom, one studio at the top there, and that side, one studio at the bottom, one studio at the top. So there's two studios there. And then there are three, is it three or four? I think it's four maybe. There are four triple level like townhouses, and then there are two triple level townhouses. And I think there's a studio at the rooftop or something like that. So I'm not too sure. If you if you download it, you can count, but don't count all the exterior doors, because there are sometimes exterior doors that connect to bedrooms. So I was originally going to do them as studios, but then I was like, that's a lot of studios. We already got quite a bit of studios. So I ended up connecting them, but they're just different points of entry. So if some of the bedrooms, you can enter them from downstairs, or you can go upstairs, go into the living room and kitchen where they are, and then go through the interior stairs to go downstairs into the bedroom there. But yeah, but anyway, I'm going to skim through really quickly what my process was today, because we're going to come in up to the last 3 minutes where I do the entire interior, because the studio is quite quick to do. But yeah, I was trying to build a minimalist mansion. So very like minimalist, or white or cream, and low lighting and everything. And I've done it a lot before in my other computer. I was quite good at minimalists. I would do them all the time. It's one of the minimalist builds I did was the hexagonal build from my TikTok. So I'm quite decent when it comes to minimalistic builds. So I was trying to do that, but I think, was it 3 attempts, almost 4 hours of it just didn't look right, and I didn't want to put effort into something that I just feel like doesn't look right. And I have still yet one day to do a mansion. Amongst all the builds I've done, I've never remodeled any of the get to work stuff. So I haven't done any hospitals, I haven't done any police stations or anything. But neither have I done any of the any mansion, which you would think is crazy, because that's literally like Sims 4 builds 101, but they are just so daunting to me that I can't fathom the thought of creating a mansion. But anyway, we're coming up to the last 2 minutes, so let me just talk about this build a tiny bit. This build is made from, like I said before, I just typed in Sims 4 build because I wanted to watch someone building a house in the Sims 4. I do it as well. And I saw that recently, a lot of people doing townhouses, and I just kind of got struck with the idea that, oh, you know what, I've done a few townhouses, but I've never quite done an Italian townhouse. And I have attempted this before on my computer downstairs last year. Came out so wrong. Tried to do it in Oasis Springs, was the worst thing you've ever seen in your life. But this time it took me 2 hours to do this entire build. Bear in mind though, I did only decorate the studio. There are still loads of like empty apartments, but yeah, it took me 2 hours, and I really do love this build. But that's what inspired me to do this build. I did some looking on Pinterest. I didn't do too much of a delve into Italian architecture, because the problem is when you type in architecture, I didn't want to do like really posh Italian townhouses. I just wanted to do a simplistic townhouse, because this is on my celebrity save, and I imagined that the sim that lives here would be a rising singer. So her name is Phoebe Talogo, and she is just trying to live through this city, and she's basically grown up in this neighborhood, and now she's just trying to aim to be a singer, such actor and everything like that. But it was honestly such a fun build. Okay, that's a lie. It was not the funnest build to do, but it was such a relief and such a I'm so content with it. It was such a relief of making it, and I'm so content with the results. And I honestly would love to see how you guys choose to decorate these apartments. Please tell me if anything at all is not accessible. I've tried to make it accessible, and you might get rid of these lights. I like these lights so much, but I can see how they're kind of an eyesore. But please tell me if there's anything that is not functioning. I'll take it down from the gallery and re-upload it. But this will be available on the gallery. If you guys want to download it, please download it. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'll love to see what you guys do with it. But yeah, so that was the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I originally had the goal of doing 200 subscribers by the end of the month, but you guys have took me way closer than I was anticipating. So I'm hoping by the end of the week, potentially we could reach 200 subscribers. That'd be great. But if you don't want to, thank you so much for watching anyways. Yeah, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I love your comments. The more the merrier. And thank you so much. Goodbye.